Hey guys, welcome to this video. We are going to continue testing a couple of weird teams here. I'm trying to figure out a way to make Coalossal and its steam engine ability work for Series 7, and I'm quite frankly open to suggestions. I have an idea that kind of works, but it's not necessarily the greatest idea. It's just kind of fun. I'm going to show you two matches. Both of them I ended up playing for behind, but both times I ended up making very different plays. I've been testing Raichu versus Hitmontop. The logic with Raichu is that Raichu has speed swap, so I have the ability to speed swap Hatterene or Glacier if I need to. We also have the ability to speed swap Regieleki if we need to do that as well. So there's a couple of different strategies that we can go over here and try to figure that out. The second strategy is with Hitmontop with White Guard. And the reason for that is, and you can even see it in this team, I feel like Series 7 is filled with Pokemon that have spread moves. So Landers has Rock Slide and Earthquake, Garchomp as well. You have Tapu Koko with Dazzling Gleam, Regieleki with Electro Web. You have Tapu Fini with Muddy Water. And those are just to name a few. There's all the Heatwave users, so Heatran and etc. So I feel like it's kind of a good idea. None of his matches actually the speed swap, or that I actually try to use them, but they didn't work effectively. But we did win in both of them, and I kind of wanted to show you the strategy behind this. So before we do that, make sure to hit that subscribe button. There's only like 15 people at this point that are subscribed, so hit subscribe, hit like, and I'll continue to post content like this if you guys want to use teams that are not necessarily part of the meta and just want to try something that's a little bit different. So this is what we are going to go with here. So the first thing that I noticed on this team is that he probably has a Scarf Lenders. Why do I know that? So he has the ability to bring sand. He has Kartana. So Kartana is probably going to be a Salt Vest here because it just makes sense in the way that he has it here. I don't know if that Tapu Koko is going to be Sash or if that's going to be Choice Specs. So if Kartana has an AV, then Landorus is probably going to be Choice Scarf. I'm not 100% sure if he's going to bring Gastrodon because it would suck against Coalossal. And I have Rillaboom, so I'm just not 100% sure if he's going to bring it or not. So I'm trying to think what the best way to lead in this game is, and my thought process is maybe we should lead with Trick Room and fake out with Raichu, bring in, and I was hoping that to maybe do a speed swap at some point as well. I should have probably led with Rillaboom and Hatterene, to be honest, but I ended up doing Raichu Hatterene. So this is kind of, and then obviously with Dragapult and Coalossal in the back. So check out what happens here. So he comes in with Landorus and Rotom. That's probably the worst thing, or the second worst thing that could have happened. I think the only worst thing that could have happened was if they led with Kartana. So in hindsight, this actually really wasn't a good strategy. And my thought process was that he was going to Dynamax the Landorus, knowing that Raichu really can't do anything against it. And he's going to try to double into Hatterene, so as to avoid the Trick Room. So my safest play here is to try to fake out the Rotom. And he protects and goes for Earthquake directly, which I wasn't expecting, but obviously Hatterene survives. Raichu goes down to the Sash, and we can get Trick Room off. So while this was nice, it's still kind of a problem because like Raichu really can't do anything, and Hatterene is not gonna Oko this guy, and I really shouldn't Dynamax at this point, especially with Hatterene having so little health. So what I kind of thought was, if this guy brought Tyranitar or Gastrodon, now is the time to bring it. to kind of avoid a volt switch from this guy. So I went for speed swap and an expanding force. He ends up going for nasty blood and earthquake. So that that speed swap really doesn't do much. But here's the thing. Now we have what we need. This Coalossal, I have it at 57 speed. The reason for that is because times 4, it should outspeed a Regieleki that isn't like overtly buffed. We can play around with those EVs, with that EV spread. We can make that significantly higher if we want to worry about Regieleki trying to like outspeed something with a scarf or whatever. But I felt that at 57 times 4, I think that's 228, if I'm not mistaken, and that is, I thought was kind of a decent. No, I'm definitely not doing that math right, but I basically felt that at that level of speed, I was going to be outspeeding. No, that's more like 234, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It's something kind of like that. The point is, I feel like that should still be outspeeding a number of things pretty consistently. So the point here is, if I don't go for Surf, Coalossal should be faster in Trick Room than both of them. And what I'm thinking is, Rotom is not going to risk hitting this guy right now because he doesn't know what that Dragapult can do. He doesn't know if that Dragapult is going to go for a Phantom Force or what. So he's just trying to get damage out of it. And he already Nasty Plotted, so he's already a +2. So this is what we do. So he Dynamaxes, and I protect Dragapult, and I go for a Heat Wave. Obviously picks up Landorus, and Rotom goes for a Max Lightning. And that's exactly what we were looking for here, so this was a perfect play. Now he brings Gastrodon. And this is my worst nightmare, because Gastrodon should be slower than Coalossal. So what I need to do is I need to Ally Switch, and I need to Solar Beam this guy. But here's the thing. His Gastrodon was actually faster than my Coalossal. And the only way to do that, so I'm pretty sure Gastrodon has 39 speed. So at 31 EVs, it would have 59 speed. And Coalossal has 57. Or my Coalossal has 57. So the thought process here is, if he actually kind of has this, if he's faster than I am, then the only way he could have done that is that he's not Zero Speed. I don't know why he was on Zero Speed, but I would assume that he was going to go for Scald in the Dragapult slot, and we're going to show you why this matters. So he dies, and then he goes for Max Lightning on that spot. Look at how little that leaves Dragapult. But I do have a Berry, and it brings it back up. But I don't know what are the EVs, what the EV spread on that is. Maybe he could have gone for Earth Power. And depending on how the EVs are, I don't know if that maybe would have killed my Dragapult or not. This is a really bulky Dragapult, so maybe I would have still lived. But it's still something to worry about, if that makes sense. So this now gives me the ability to protect and go for a Max Flare. My assumption, based on the conversation we had before, was that this guy had a Assault Vest, and I made this play betting on the fact that it had an Assault Vest. I don't know if this was the right play. Honestly, it probably wasn't. What I probably should have done here is go for Breaking Swipe and Max Flare. And the reason why I should have done that was because although Kartana was faster, I know that the Volcal, or maybe what I should have done is Breaking Swipe, expecting Kartana to go for Coalossal, and Breaking Swipe, and then the next turn I can go for Kartana. I could go for Surf and then try to kill Kartana, but I was just kind of worried that I wasn't going to be able to get the Surf off after my last turn of Trick Room, so I kind of just went for it, assuming there was an Assault Vest. And I was right. So, but I genuinely did get kind of lucky on that one, and obviously this did a lot of damage because he was because he had a Nasty Blood. He went for Protect, but now we can go for Surf outside of Trick Room, and now we're faster, and now we can go for the Rocks. So it goes to say that a lot of people use the Coalossal strategy, and they're like, yeah, we need to max Coalossal and we need to do all these things. You don't have to. Like, you can come from behind. I don't know that this guy in a million years thought that he was going to lose this match. He made a couple of good plays, but then we also made plays, and, we go back and there were a couple of mistakes that I probably made. But it's kind of a strong team, and we were able to, to pick it back. So that's one example, and again, it just goes to say that you don't have always to Dynamax in turn 1. I waited as long as I could before I tried to go for the sweep, and we ultimately made him burn his Dynamax before we did, and that helped. Game number 2, we brought Hitmontop, and what I saw here, I was expecting that he was going to lead with Garchomp, and I was going to go for White Guard. I thought that maybe he was going to go for Earthquake Electroweb, but he came in with with Tornadus and Garchomp. So what I was hoping was that I was going to be able to go for an Icicle Crash on the Garchomp slot, and then I was just going to be able to White Guard the Rock Slide, the EQ, or whatever my opponent was going for. So now that just became kind of tough. So this guy has an eject button. So part of my overall strategy revolves on the fact that Hitmontop is going to go out of the field so that I can bring Coalossal. So what I do here, assuming that he's going to try to fake out, is I end up trying to go for a fake out on Tornadus, expecting a Tailwind, and I bring Dragon Bolt, but he protects and switches, which just makes no sense. So now this guy isn't intimidated, this guy's on the field, and Dragon Bolt is fodder for a Max Mirror Wind. I think he expected that I was going to switch into Coalossal, kind of expecting a Max Mirror Wind here, and I don't know why he assumed that, but I go for Protect. He goes for Tailwind as expected, and he goes for a Max Quake here through my Protect. So Hitmontop has triple Axel, and I was kind of expecting it to kill, and it just doesn't. It hit all 3 times, and I took a ton of damage with the 3 hits. As you can see, we took, what's that, like 36% out of those 3 hits. So now I bring my Glastrier, and I bring Coalossal, assuming that he is safe and that he's going to try to go for an Air Slash on Hitmontop. And I wanted to make sure I could re-intimidate. So I go to this guy, and he goes for a Max Mirror Wind. It doesn't matter on Coalossal because Coalossal is special. So I bring Hitmontop again, expecting him to hit Hitmontop, so that it goes out with the eject button, and I can protect the Coalossal, and he's not going to do much. But he goes for Taunt for whatever reason, and it dies, so it kind of does the same as the... It kind of does the same as I was originally expecting, and now I can go back and do this, but he switches, which I thought was kind of weird and I wasn't expecting. So my thought process here was, I'm going to go for Solar Beam, well, Max Solar Beam, on the Garchomp slot, because even though Volcalit, etc., I was expecting that he was going to protect here, and I wanted to be able to heal, depending on how much, if I didn't kill, I just wanted to be able to just go for some healing. So I went into a Solar Beam on the Incineroar slot, and, well, he switched into Incineroar. I wasn't expecting him to go for Incineroar here, right? So now I'm in a bit of a predicament because the Tailwind's over, but he's going to bring the Tailwind again. So we ally switch. He goes for Tailwind, and I can hit this guy because even in Tailwind, we are whatever that speed is. I don't know that this says it. I think we are, well, whatever the number is, 230, whatever that number is. And now here's the thing. He's got Tapu Fini, and again, I should still be faster, even though I am in... So he predicts the ally switch. I should still be faster than Fini, because Fini's never going to be max speed. So even in Tailwind, we're times 4 speed, so we should still be faster than it. But just in case, still one for that. But now we can't ally switch anymore. He still has Garchomp. What I should have done here is I should have protected and Breaking Swipe. Because this Breaking Swipe and the Volcalit that I said earlier should have killed it. And I didn't do that. I just went for a heat wave, and that was a stupid play on my end. If he went for an EQ, I would have lost. So we go for the heat wave, and it doesn't kill it, but we flinch, and that just sucked. So we end up picking up the kill with the Volcalith. That was a bad play on my part. I should have protected Coalossal and go for the breaking swipe. The breaking swipe, if it didn't kill, it would have still decreased damage, and it would have it should have gotten it in the range of the Volcalith anyways. There's no doubt in my mind that's what would have happened. So, and then he forfeits. So it's kind of a cool team. I'm still trying to figure out if I like Hitmontop or Raichu better. In either game, they didn't do anything. I'm really not using the Trick Room mode a whole lot, and what you can tell is that I'm playing Dragapult and Coalossal from the back a lot as well. So there's a couple of different ways to do it. Depending on the other team, you might be able to lead it as well. It just depends on what your opponent has. If you're in front of a Landorus or you're in front of a Garchomp, things like that, you probably don't want to do that. So it's about playing smart. It's about figuring out what is the best way to do these things. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, leave a comment, let me know what kind of ideas you have on how to improve upon this team. I'm absolutely all ears. I'm not 100% set of how to do this, but I wanted to make sure I posted something. And it's been fun to kind of play with these teams. I usually prefer to do it through the regular game, but this EV spreads are kind of complicated, and I didn't want to go through that. I don't typically gen Pokemon unless it's for draft leagues and stuff like that. I breed everything, so I just didn't want to go through the effort of doing that. So leave a like, subscribe, let me know what you think, and we'll take it from there. Thanks, guys.